Going the furthest tonight, Denise?
All right.
Who's going the furthest tonight?
Perfect. I'm going to Denver in about 10 minutes. I'm going to read it and bounce.
Sounds good. It's like something great folks. She loves you, but she does have to catch that point. So let's get this on. Tony.
All right. Hello, everybody. My name is Tony Bolsito, and I am usually your host for the evening, but not tonight. Tonight it is going to be Bryan Thao Worra. But before that, I just want to let you know we are a production of the League of Minnesota Poets and Cracked Walnut. And so we are a nonprofit, and we are very glad that you are here. And we're here every third Wednesday. So our next show will be October 20th. But for tonight, we have a showcase that Bryan has put together, and he's going to host it. And I'm going to shut up now. All right.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Bryan Thao Worra. That's a Minnesota poet laureate and the poet of a host of cats around here that you may or may not have seen over time. And we'll get into that over time here. But for the sake of interest and purposes here, I want to kind of get us to our very first speaker as soon as possible then. And so you will bear with me as I do the whole explanation. My life is a really fun meeting tonight. After we introduce Denise Hanh, who is a poet, educator, and a researcher. She's the voice of our nation Arts Foundation alum, whose poetry has appeared with publications such as Diet Critics, Coffee House Press, and Public Art St. Paul. Her performance work has been shared with the community in literary spaces such as Poets and Pints, Poetry Asylum, Poetry and the Pie Picnic, and also museums and theaters like the Minneapolis Institute of Art, Theater Moon, Pillsbury House, and more. She's currently a PhD candidate in education. Yeah, hey, let's hear about her education. Focus in arts, culture, and future. Experiences of miseducation and opportunities we lack to understand our ancestors and ourselves deeply motivate her research and practice. So I'll let her explain more about that, but please help me welcome Denise to the stage.
Thanks, Bryan. I don't know if that was the long bio or the short bio, but as
It feels long.
Yeah, it was like a long one. I actually just came back from teaching. I teach diversity in children's literature right now, and we're teaching masked in person. So that's new. And I'm here to read a few poems for you guys before I catch a flight to Denver. You all ready? Yeah. All right. So content warning, there's gonna be stuff about white supremacy, about patriarchy, so need some political stuff. The first one is called Another Ghetto of Oppression Olympics. In 1980, my refugee family was granted passageway to a new country, a new state, Minnesota. They landed on the west side along Decay, another ghetto of oppression Olympics in Minnesota. Brown people are expected to compete here every day, not every 2 or 4 years, not here, not Minnesota. They dance the refugee shuffle sideways from Frogtown to the north side to Brooklyn Park, Minnesota. Debate on who's got it worse, who's allowed to stay. You're colonized, you're formerly enslaved. These are distractions by Minnesota. Missing and murdered Indigenous women we smudge. We pray for Black and brown men killed in Minnesota. Somaliapolis, you've only your community to blame. No, brothers and sisters, you're lucky to be in Minnesota. Southeast Asian refugees, shut your mouths and obey. Be grateful to live the imperial dream in Minnesota. Korean adoptees and mixed race babies, you are ours to claim. Forget your language. We assimilate to Yante's law of Minnesota. You are not to think you are as good as we are. This is the way you survive, thrive, the way you show you are Minnesota. Nice. Forget that no Jews were allowed in World War II days. Love thy Nazi neighbors in the star of the north of Minnesota. Decorate and color up Southside, Midtown, the Midway. Gentrify, redline, and capitalize on the working poor of Minnesota. Fight for status, money, shreds of power allotted by the state. Pretend you don't see how we pacify, control you here in Minnesota. Thank you. Right, so that's the first one. It's a guzzle. Yeah, so I got to take a class with Doug Kearney last semester, and he asked us to write a guzzle, so that was it. All right, next one is called Upon Announcement of the Fast Track Removal Policy. ICE is detaining U.S. citizens while the white women in my life are going to Belle and Sebastian concerts at the zoo, inviting me to ice cream socials on the porch, having sex with browner men they never would have opened up their legs for 2 years ago. I'm reading my mother's mail after we eat too many crab legs at the teppanyaki grill and Supreme buffet, spitting out paperwork we need to file and get in order. She can't hear me. She lost an ear to a fever when she was 16. You lost your masculinity to the Chinese Exclusion Act before your father stepped foot in America. We all lose things. Our bodies confuse liberation unbound by color, origin, and sex for validation. I make a list of what I need to survive this time and place. Tomorrow morning, I will eat radishes drenched in butter and find out how far our Minneapolis birth certificates will take us. Thank you. The next one is called Get Out. You smash his blue car in with a baseball bat, paint Get Out on his hood in yellow acrylics. We are not welcome here. But we haven't been welcome here since the year 1875. My body still won't be welcome after I bleach myself with skin products or make whiter children with taller men I'm unsettled about fucking. The white woman at the film shoot thrusts plastic orange cheddar in my hands. She tells me the snack table is running low on cheese. She's scared to touch me. I may well be infected with China virus, but she'll eat the squares of cheese she tells me to put out. Yellow hands must ferment raw milk better. I want to tell women like her, go and fool the others. Yes, I can see your bullshit from all the way across my big river, though there's cancer on my mind, so I say nothing. Breast tumors won't kill me before I eat violet grapes and shriveled blueberries on the couch with Viet and Khmer men who don't need to say a damn word to no loss. We still need to eat. I still chop up shallots, garlics, and black oyster mushrooms for my brown eggs. You wipe paint off the hood, but I won't forget what you said or what you did to us.
How would you?
Cool. The next one is one that I wrote right after the Atlanta spa shootings, actually. I couldn't sleep that night. So I stayed up and wrote this. And of course, this is several drafts later. It's called Lifting a Rose Gold Sun. Imagine us alive, cherished and unraped. At least once in your life, feel our blood a gift intact. Raven waved hair, golden eyes unafraid. What Pornhub videos did you watch to get us here? Which Asian woman do you blame for your choices now? We've got better things to do than fuck you. Fuck you. Imagine that, not fucking with your ego, you, your gun, and your callow end. You and your bad day only murder will fix. We will live to tell the full truth. You're a failed grandchild, limp, smaller than our sacred gold women you've gunned down here this Georgia day. No shrine could heal your hand. You're but a symptom, a vile lesson we won't allow our states to learn. No. Imagine we call our spirits back with fire. We offer fresh, warm soy milk and strawberry cake. We press warm temples to the earth. After years lifting a rose gold sun, we drive our beloved grandmother's home. A couple more. This one's called Matrilineality. Here's my grandmother and her lullabies, her recipes, the words she wrote down and the ones she didn't. My father will not take credit for any parts of me that are good. I write with the voice of my mother's mother and the voice of my father's mother, her mandolin singing beside me. Our matriarchs drown out his sound. He said more than enough. We sing with Huynh and the Dung sisters. We write our rebellions into being. Whatever way hands may shape me, I keep the center of my spirit's heart vermilion and true. I carve Wang up into the mountainside. Our foremothers sing us to vigil and we say, Gam'an. Gam'an for refusing to give yourself up then, and Gam'an for refusing to be forgotten now. We spell our light into language. We say knowledge for knowledge's sake is sickness. We say let her who is sick with sickness pass on the story of gift unasked for like a huge bag of moonlight. Carry her across the sky. Eat the cartilage of her bones. Darkness is no predator. I don't right my father's unbodied wounds. I won't turn him into a villain or a victim. I carve my grandmother's lullaby into my wrist for nights with her where I am safe to make my own revelry and revolt. All right. Thank you. This is the last one. This is some new shit.
New shit.
Thank you. Oh my God, it's been so long to be in person. So this one, I wrote out of guilt. On Sunday, I was supposed to go to this art event with my friend at 9 a.m. in the morning on Sunday, and I have very, very bad ragweed allergies. So I just slept. She called me. I woke up at like 9:45. I was like, oh my God. I'm so sorry. So this is not about her, but I wrote it for her. As in, I'm so sorry. It's called Seasonal Clue. For Anthony. I dragged our deep blue rugs out to the curb after the thrift store refused to take them. The wine-oiled couch cubes got picked up right away. I kept the old mission-style bookcase his father made, but I burned the dress and bouquet of metal brooches. Yes, I knew I wanted objects that would last because we wouldn't. I'm sorry. This wasn't what I thought it'd be. He wrote a story in his head that I was with him for his money when I covered his rent in our early years, when I worked 3 jobs to buy us rice and eggs. I still see his mother's white face darkening the day I ordered more sumai at Dim Sum. She saw greed, not tradition. They both saw a yellow gold digging whore. When I snuck away to pay the tab, her shoulders fell and her face lit back up again. My body told me to run so many times, and that minute was no exception. I kept blue worry stones he gave me for years after. I still have my Art Deco earrings, my ring. Life without us is better, easier, but I'm still cleaning up. Thank you.
Well, one more time for Denise on time. I always appreciate just the tremendous energy and the fire that she brings to the stage here with these thoughtful lines which are grounded both in our history of who we have been and who we can be. And so at the same time, I also appreciate the hazards of trying to travel and get from point A to point B. Guys, I appreciate you so much for taking the time out to join us tonight here, and good luck in Denver. All right, so now I also have a little bit more time to take a deep breath and to explain to you kind of the theme that's kind of grounding our idea out here. So this September marks the 20th anniversary of a reading that took place at an institution that used to be known in Minnesota as Intermediate Arts. How many of you remember Intermediate Arts? Yes. All right. Well, this was kind of a bit of a guerrilla affair as it was, but we had a number of our poets from Minnesota who at the time were just beginning their careers and beginning their journeys out with poets like Bao Phi, for example. Emmanuel Ortiz and so many others. Like they organized the Juliana Piggies and so on, who were organizing a reading called Voices from the Rim, Refugees, Immigrants, and Migrants. And they were all excited, like, hey, we've got this space here. We can kind of just share our verse, we can share our stories in our own words, on our own terms. You know, it's not the great usual enthusiasm we had there being, well, refugees, immigrants, and migrants, which today it may seem hard for some of you to even think of it, but we were not voices which were regularly invited onto the stage. Oh, sure, we had organizations like, say, Asian American Renaissance, out there trying to carve out that space, but the colleges, the schools, even certain literary institutions, which shall not go named here, were not really, busting down the doors going.
Tell me.
We're not busting down the doors saying, hey, come up here and share your work with us. We really want to hear this. And so this is really kind of a radical proposition for everyone. Then when we started planning it in June, like, all right, September 17th is when we're all going to do this, ladies and gentlemen. We called the whole crowd together, and it's like, I'm not saying we got upstaged by another event a couple of days earlier there, but it did give a particular urgency to what we were doing, more weight and more of a sense of, we really do need to be out here. We really do need to be sharing, our experiences, who we have been, who we can become. What is that world? What is that future that we can see ourselves in? And so I think that was something that was powerful and pivotal to me as we started to put together this year's anniversary reading. As many of the people who were originally involved in that reading are currently on their way to the East Coast, so weren't available for this. But I felt that, no, that's just it for. But when you put together a reading, when you gather together as writers, as creators, as kindred spirits, we have to understand we can't take those moments for granted. Every moment, every opportunity is this significant point in time then, and we just have to do what we can. And we also have to reach forward, and we have to bring in the next generation of voices and creators as well. And so to that end, that kind of leads us to the interesting part of our next reader that I'm going to bring up to the stage then is Julian Hines, who has been working with myself and so many of the other Lao American and Southeast Asian creators and community builders from across Minnesota for, wow, how many? It's like over a decade. Over a decade. It's like, for me, it's like I'm going to try and specifically say, the first time I remember seeing him involved in this was 13 years ago, and I'm just going, yeah, I'm proud of him. I'm really proud to see the steps that he's taking to kind of reach out and be better. So he's a Jamaican-American multidisciplinary artist, a stage production manager and curator. He has performed on various stages locally, nationally, and abroad in Asia and Africa. His eclectic training in dance goes from Batarano, or DC, West African, hip-hop, and percussive step. With over 2 decades of teaching experience, wow. It's like, Julian keeps an unwavering dedication to teaching the art to the youth. Regardless, if he is on Macau Center teaching artist roster or teaching abroad in Japan, he's very fortunate to share space, be mentored, and under the direction of following grand giants in these arts such as Smuki Bonsai, Kenakamara Kaufman, Ananya, Renee Harris, Michael Sakamoto, Shah Cage, and E.G. Bailey. And so he did want to point out to us that it's not until this past half decade where he received the best experience working his way from stagehand to manager and then earning the role. Wow, production manager, you've been holding on? Julian. Okay, it's behind the scenes, back the housework has been done for Mayan Maiden Productions, Bach Collective, and the Intermediate Arts Catalyst series. And I'm like, he's got a whole long list here, but I'm just really much more excited to bring him up here. It's like I consider him a friend, a brother, a kindred spirit, and I think he's going to really amaze you in the next few minutes. Please help me welcome Julian Hines. Julian,
Yes.
knock it out of the park.
What's going on, everybody? How you feeling? Y'all better act like you happy to be here. Okay, so Brian is right. For the longest time, when I first came to the States, primary school, they put me in ESL because I had more of the patois. Who knows what patois is? Patois is like when you hear the Jamaican accent. Don't call it a Jamaican accent. Let me hear your Jamaican accent. No, it's called patois. Say patois. So then, yeah, man, wagwan. Say wagwan. Wagwan, like, what's up? How you doing? So then when I'm in class, they're like, oh, we're going to ESL. And then all of my friends ended up being Southeast Asians, and we could so much resemble what our moms would bring us for lunch, trading lunches, or also just like the brown skin. I never saw Asian. I always saw Asians like, oh, Japanese or something Chinese. No, I saw some brown brothers, some beautiful brown sisters, some Kun Lao, some Kun Khmer, some Kun Viet, some Kun Hmong. So I'm gonna start with this one right here. It's called Black Maybe. And Black Maybe to me is coming to the States, we never knew what the N-word was. We never, because I was the majority, so I'm like, what the N-word, what? Please. So now I want to share just some experiences that my cousins and I experienced being you're Black, maybe. Okay. And Brian from China. That's not big bro right there. And he Jiangsu, y'all. And he Jiangsu. He's so handsome. All right. Jiangsu. All right. Can't come around. They don't want to bring you down. No one knows just what's inside. Doing dope and doing time. While they messing with your mind. Like maybe I'm pulling on these braids. I'm pulling on her hair. I'm taking everything I can to make sure everything is straight as possible. Code switching her hair from the coarse nap to the nice and straight bone marrow. She's gonna be all right. We're gonna get this interview. We're gonna be just fine. Make sure my hair is fine, fine and divine, up to the top. Don't let my kitchen show. I don't want them to see no afro. Can't come around. They don't wanna bring you down. No one knows just what's inside. Doing dope and doing time. While they messing with your mind. Black lady. I used to take the long way home so I could explore and see what was going on. I love the long way home. No one's following me, no one's telling me where I need to go. This new world that I'm exploring is different. These pavement streets, not a two-way. Where's the livestock at? Where are my friends? Sunshine doesn't shine the same here. I just sell seashells by the seashore. Does that make me can't come around? They don't wanna bring you down. No one knows just what's inside. Doing dope and doing time. Why they messing with your mind? Like maybe. My dad taught us a lot. He showed us how we can make a lot happen with just our hands. His hands used to pick cotton in the summertime for a job. Spring Hill, Louisiana. Now he owns a BlackBerry. The irony of that. You got so much privilege, son. Look what you can do with yourself. What are you gonna be an artist for? You gonna be a jester? Come on, man, I need you to be better than that. That's not how we do. Our family is true. Legacy holds on tight. It's all about your name. Where you going, boy? Why don't you marry no girl? You too fine to marry no girl like that. You just look right. I said, find out I was gay. Can't come around. They don't wanna bring you down. No one knows just what's inside. Doing dope and doing time. Why they messing with your mind? Black baby. Thank you. Okay, this next one is just this one for me is just gonna hold on a second. So it's called Irie. So Irie in Patois is like it means youthful or like youthful child. So when I extend my hand to you, I want you to say Irie, okay? Let's try it. So Irie. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Irie. Yeah, like Irie man. Irie. You feel that Irie man? You feel Irie? She feel Irie. Her smile says she said Irie. All right, let's try this. I dream of going back so bad right now. High school sucks so bad right now. No faces that look like mine so bad right now. I'm so angry so bad right now. I'm forgetting where I come from so bad right now. I'm trying so hard over these FUBU jeans, trying to fit into these things, these clicks, these manifest things, but I can't manifest to be what I want to be. So I had to breathe inside and go, Irie. And when I breathe inside, I go, Irie. And it's louder, and I go, Irie. Thank you. So as I breathe inside, I say to myself, Irie. The sun comes back to me, palm trees. The sun comes back to me, palm trees reach back to me. Everything is reaching back to me. The ocean laughs back to me. Big Mama on the scene back to me. Jerk chicken smells with callaloo and bami, cocoa bread and saying, y'all boy, I want to see what you do. Rude boy, come this way. Juju boo, where you be, man? You got a big son now. You going up to States? I'm a big son now. I'm going up States. And don't forget, son, you're always gonna be? It's gonna be all right. I promised myself it would. Being Irie is just for a part of me. Lots in my hair, feeling so good, so tight, so bound. Good God, my hair is so woolly, made from the upward beauty. No hair is like mine. I don't have to wash my hair all the time. See, no bugs can live inside or reside. Irie is where I come from. I see my sister hanging out under the coconut tree, listening to her dog. Her dog can't talk. That's some ducky type of thing. I want to know what she feel about it. So she asked me, Juju boo, how you feel about me darling? They don't talk to me. Your daddy don't want to talk to me. I don't want to talk to your daddy. I'm too busy in my own self. I'm just trying to refresh myself and be in this air that comes to me, this air that feels for me, this air inside of me, this air inside of me go. Irie. Doesn't it feel nice to say Irie? The worst times, the best times, playing in the hurricane rains. Yes, we play in hurricanes. Everything around me. Every fern gully, every single flower, every single gecko, every single lizard, every single bug, all a part of me. Community, all a part of me. Walking to school, blocks of miles away. I had my best friend, Junie. Junie stands beside me. Junie's stronger than me. I was the shy one. Junie's the strong one. I'm always by a strong woman, and I love it. And that what makes me happy. My cousin Kurt. My cousin Kurt. Kurt was pick me. Kurt was pick me like me. Kurt was pick me like me, my brothers. Pick me mean dark skin. Pick me mean not wanted. Pick me mean colorism. Pick me mean a caste. Pick me mean don't pick me. Please don't pick me. Please don't pick me. Please don't pick me. Please don't pick me. Pick me. Julie boy. Please don't pick me. Please don't pick me. Julie boy. Please don't pick me. They pick me. My great grandmother caresses my chin. Oh, Julie boy. My pick me grandchild. So beautiful. For my pick me grandchild. Does that make me feel Irie? Yes. But inside, I'm not feeling Irie. So, to say this, I rested her. Irie. Irie. Thank you so much. Okay. I shouldn't have told it? Okay. I felt that, that death poetry jam, the inner thigh bone. He was touching my inner thigh, and it felt so nice. And I was feeling so elated. It's not that kind of show. Oh, it's not? Oh, I mean, I'm also very free. Boom, boom. Okay. This is last one I did. This is what I did about oh my gosh, damn Bryan. Yeah, about a decade ago, no, 2 decades ago now. It's called I Remember Clearly. And I Remember Clearly was just me trying to connect with no, I'm not gonna lie about it. It'll be very explicit. I was really trying to connect with my Southeast Asian brothers and sisters just because of the assimilations that we had. And if you notice in the communities, and especially in the hoods, like Brooklyn Park, where's she at? Where my sister at? Where's she leave? Oh, she's at. But the Brooklyn Parks, the north sides, the east sides, the west sides, just how we're in each other's community and we're not really talking. So I wanted to reach that out, and I also want to make that connection. So to every Vietnamese, Hmong, Cambodian, Karen, Lao, Kun Thai, all that, like, I love y'all, okay? This is for us, this is for us. But we need to unite on this thing, sure. This makes some type of words. All right, some Anne Marie babies, let's do it here. Do it in stanza. Big Mama, do. You ain't counting about. Hey baby, you hungry? Yeah, that's how our grandmas do. When you come into our house, we take off your shoes. Take off your shoes. Don't be rude. Take off your shoes. Grandma gonna feed you. She gonna feed you good. She gonna make sure you are full. Eat through it, eat through it. You gonna be fat. I know that. So check this out. My grandma's gonna feed you the best slow cooking you ever had, from her hands down to the knees of her bones. She's about to show you how it grown. These are the growing pains that we had. Soul food, good food. Kapun, all that good food. That's how my grandma do. Grandma do, grandma do, grandma do, okay? Let's go. We're going outside, playing hide and go freak tag at night. We're going to be outside all night. Street lights came on, still outside all night, in the dark, playing nice, all right. Understand this. When we kids play, we don't have no rules, no boundaries, nothing to play. Our mothers taught us how to stretch pennies and pennies and pennies into millions and millions and billions. We don't play around. We come from a strong heritage, long lines of long tongues that speak slick. We don't care about nothing. You can suck mine. Okay, let's go. I'm in class. Julian, can you please read the passage from the, excuse me, the Toni Morrison Bluest Eye? Toni Morrison Bluest Eye. But I got brown eyes. I don't know who this woman is. Just because I'm black, I'm supposed to know? Not everyone needs to know. Everyone wants to know. How come you don't know? You should know. Why don't I know? I don't know. I wasn't taught. I don't know. So understand this. This is how we flow. We have our own language, our own ways. We're in the same community, and we're not going to take any more away. Let's go for it. I remember clearly. I remember clearly playing with Hmong, Cambodian, and Vietnamese kids, eating that pho, slurping up all the broth to my heart's desires. I had a lot of friends telling me, hey, Kwandam. I'm like, I love my Kwandam back down. I'm loving it. Man, that was my nickname. I know it was derogatory until it was later, but I didn't mind though. Those are my friends. They always had my back until the very end. Gave me all the sticky rice I wanted, my greedy self. I'll always cherish it forever and ever. Satu. I went to the temple. I'm a church boy. Seventh-day Adventist. Should I be in the temple? Didn't matter to me. Oh my gosh, going for that all the way, all the memories. I remember clearly. I remember family. I remember friendships being family. I remember, always remember clearly. Thank you so much, everyone, and thank you, Bryan.
Thanks, everyone. All right, and he is right. It's a great question about intersectionality, about so many of these diverse journeys that come together here in often unexpected ways. So I'm going to take a quick pause for my own poem for the night here, Ben, to kind of also help set the frame of of what we're doing here, because this came about, I would say, it's a poem from 2003, and then it was eventually part of the collection of his band, which I'll introduce a little bit more about later on when one of our next speakers comes up here. Well, this is the poem 5 Fragments. Only 7 people walked away from Camp S21. My critics asked me to find the beautiful words to make this more than a statement. Chase the rhythms and meter to propel this into true poetry. Aesthetics mustn't die in literature. Don't starve language with your emaciated lyric. Don't keep back the flourishes that will set these words apart, or anger and memories will become only passing wind, and the tattered spines of your book about this camp will be thrown in the garbage, with not even the pomp of a Berlin book. Surely, A 14,000 would appreciate that. We have no eyes, no voice, no hands to applaud and cheer anymore. They want me to splash in Paul Potts rivers to find the true tears from mere falling rain. But if you ask my neighbors across the hall, you will find a particular indifference whether I succeed or not. Part 2. When the portraits came in black and white, stained and torn without a trace of artistic intent, they were mounted upon a plain white wall in the Weissman, across from a stout statue of a squatting Buddha and his irresponsible smile. Recovering from the mud after the Khmer Rouge went running, there are no names, only stenciled numbers that meant nothing the next day in the camp. How many years have they been touring these haunted faces, hoping someone would recognize them long enough to restore names to them? For words, it's tragic, cross your lips. The odds increase horrifically that you would give a matter no further thought within hours. Now, in the other gallery, Dion's solemn cabinet of curiosities, custom assembled for the University of Minnesota, was amusing the spectators with all the charm of a Renaissance scholar. All the usual divisions were there: underworld, sea, and air. The terrestrial realm, humankind, the library and archive, the allegory of vision, the allegory of sound and time, the allegory of history. Gaze upon a specimen of algae, a large hand-painted fan, a freeze-dried cow lung, a set of black Chinese bindage shoes, earthen forceps from the 1800s, whose modern counterparts have barely changed, a Napoleonic teapot, in the words of Yul Brynner, etc., etc., etc. The day I went, a young woman in green muttered to her boyfriend, "What is this junk from the basement? It's not art, and it doesn't belong here." Moments later, he replied thoughtfully, "I wish they validated parking." When the B-52 bombers pummeled the village of Nha Nguyen by accident, over 100 Cambodians died without cause, with no more ceremony than the shrill whistle and the burst of flame and shrapnel from a mile high. Ambassador Swank came to assuage the grief of those who survived with a grand gesture of $100 bills, American, according to an anguished footnote from a man who happened to read about the matter in an London paper at the time. A woman I know from a village near Angkor Wat tries to escape the nightmares of the camps today in Minneapolis by filling her house with tropical trees and flowers from her homeland she remembered as a little girl. In 1990, over an after-school match of Trivial Pursuit, my teacher asked, "What is the name of a country where Pol Pot instituted Year Zero, killing thousands of his countrymen?" "Cambodia," I answered with certainty, confident and familiar. "No," he replied. "No, what the hell is it then?" "A card," said Kampuchea. "It's the same thing." "No, it's not." 10 years later, I can't believe I argued over that point as I stare at crude wooden tables piled with skulls of the Phnom Penh. In 2 years, I don't believe I've said more than a dozen words to my Cambodian neighbors in the apartment below me. That's just the way it is. The other day, I walked past the grandmother trying to talk to her Hmong counterpart across our Frog Town Hall. Broken English, hesitant and uncertain, had become the bridge as each stood in their doorway, humbling towards something resembling an ordinary conversation. Gardening and grandchildren seemed to be the subject. I still don't know what to make of it all. My head heavy as a mango without a mouth to feed. And so this leads us into our next reader, Ben, who I have had the privilege of knowing now well over 2 decades, Ben. And part of that journey is that next year will be the 20th anniversary of a collection known as Bamboo Among the Oaks, which was the first anthology of Hmong American literature in the country. And I always love telling the story with it because right around the mid-1990s, Vayong Moua and a very close cohort of her friends who were among the very first of her people to attend college, and were tired of just looking through the textbooks, looking through the novels, the poetry collections, everywhere she looked, she could not find the story of the Hmong people out there. And it's like, no, we don't come from nowhere. It's like, where's our story? What about the stories of ours? We see all these stories of Vietnam veterans, we see all these other refugees, but it's like, no, where's our story? And so she took this defiant step in order to say, the Hmong could have a voice, that they could write, that they could create as well. And it started off in a small Minnesota college there. It's like, and she just told far and wide any of her fellow Hmong writers that she could. It's like, send me anything, whatever you've got, we're going to put it together. We're going to make our first journal, our first newsletter. And it's like, they kind of snuck into a photocopier room and just put it all together. And the next thing you know, she made these zines, which then over the course of another 10 years, suddenly became the Bryan Thao Worra's Hmong Literary Journal. It was the first journal that their community really had, this beautiful thing. And I remember in 2001, as she was starting to shop it around to certain literary presses who will not be named in Minnesota, she just says, hey, we've got this collection, like 10 years of the best of the Hmong writers that we gathered. We started from 5, and now we had close to 300 people all around the country who were sending things in here, and we picked out some of the best ones out there. And the editor of that press at the time was just like, the Hmong people even read. Yes. It's like, and the Hmong people even write. That's like, we've got a decade worth of material here. Yes, it's like we write, we create, and like, this is too much of a financial risk hard pass, and and went on their way. And so what I love about that is that she persisted. I mean, that's been she managed to get a deal with the Minnesota Historical Society Press at the time before it became Borealis. And I remember as we were putting everything together, they were just saying, "No, we understand how important this is to your community, and I don't want you to get your hopes up too high about how it's going to go there, but we recognize that this is a significant moment for Hmong people. So just temper your expectations, but we'll just put a small run on that." Anyway, well, you can only imagine everyone's surprised when in 2002 it becomes the very first book that the New York Times ever covered. It's from the Historical Society Press, and it sold out its complete run. It's just then, right? 405, I forget the exact number. They sold out well before the middle of the year, and then went on to being taught in classrooms around the world. And so I bring that up here because our next reader was a part of that. He was one of the people where I've had the privilege and honor of knowing his writing. And he took that risk too. It was a big thing back in the day to put your net out on there. But here's his formal bio. Vayong Moua leads advocacy now for Blue Cross Blue Shield of Minnesota to advance racial and health equity and upstream determinants of health among all Minnesotans. His philosophy and action focus on integrating health equity into governance across sectors, issues, and cultural communities. Vayong Moua applies cross-cultural power and equity analysis into advocacy approaches and structural solutions, which means he does good stuff, people. Anyway, Vayong Moua championed Blue Cross Health in All Policies investment and co-founded the Minnesota Complete Streets Coalition that led passage of Minnesota State's Complete Streets Law. More recently, he chaired the Legislative, Cultural, and Ethnic Communities Leadership Council that catalyzed the Department of Human Services agency-wide policy and equity. This is really big stuff, ladies and gentlemen. He received his Bachelor of Arts, a triple major. Now you have to put this into perspective. All right, even now, this data here shows that many of the Southeast Asian communities fail. It's like have a struggle to get over 13 to 15% of our communities to successfully graduate college. All right. Vayong triple majored in philosophy, sociology, and anthropology, and Asian studies from St. Olaf College. All right. He received his Master of Public Administration, so he's now the 1% of Hmong academics been with the Robert M. Paulette School of Public Affairs at the University of Wisconsin-Madison. He's a Public Policy International Affairs Fellow, a Humphrey Policy Fellow, and a Karen Bush Fellow. All right, you're fine. After all. Anyway, he celebrates his one refugee identity and along with Ampachia enjoys raising Ishi, his 5-year-old, and Ishua is 1-year-old. All right, well, you've been busy after all. Ladies and gentlemen, please help me welcome my good friend, Robert Vayong Moua. It's been a real long time since it's been up here on stage.
I really wish I never sent you that bio,
Oh,
clearly out of context and not the right place to be sharing that kind of background.
Just wanted to brag about your dad.
Funny but true. Funny but true. Exactly. And when I when I graduated from college, I was like, what's this piece of paper here? I didn't give a damn about it. And my dad came as close to he has ever had to slapping me. He said, "You think that's yours? No, that's not your diploma. That's mine. That's my diploma." And so he reminded me of gratitude, of sacrifice, of hope, and of privilege accountability. And so I'm very thankful for that. St. Olaf, I disowned them today because they got some serious racist shit going on there that we're still in battle with. But I will say that majoring in philosophy was perhaps the greatest gift of my life. And when I declared that at age 15, before I even knew what it was, my parents jokingly said, "You didn't cross the Mekong River for you to think deeply about being unemployed." But all joking aside, I'm more accustomed to reading policy memos and testifying in the legislature than writing poetry. And so, full disclaimer, I haven't even read this piece. I wrote it. I rushed over, picked up my sister to join me, and I said, "Hey, I need some backup." It's been over 20 years since I've written anything, but I just whispered to Kashia, like, "Damn, I gotta follow Denise and Julian and Bryan." I'm like, "Oh, this is not the right precedent." But I'm just honored. I'm honored to be here, and I'll keep my daughter's prompt for me in mind here. When I left, she asked where I'm going. She's 5 years old, just started kindergarten. And I said, "I'm going to read poetry and drink beer." And she said, "Oh, well, why are you doing that?" And I said, "Because it's necessary." Because it's necessary. So this first piece is called Post-Nomadic Stress Syndrome. After your body was mangled by a grenade, they murdered you again. They wouldn't let grandma, your children, come to America because you died. The ultimate betrayal, dying, disqualified your children and widow. They said it was refugee resettlement policy. Only 2 able-bodied working adults or your family cannot go to America. Fighting for a secret American war, they wanted to make you a tragic pawn in their Cold War. SGU, Special Guerrilla Unit, covertly recruited and overtly denied. They failed to mention S was for surrogate. Design racism to deny your existence. Design racism before your birth that followed you to your unmarked grave. Invisible to Tomb Raiders, invisible to America, not invisible to me. No one has found me yet. On a mural at Hmong Village, My father pointed to your hidden grave. Grandfather, I'm on my way. 1975. Our supernova diaspora and I were born. Nomadic no more, but treated more alien than ever. Stepping off the plane, my mom asked, where's the welcome party? They first whispered, go back to your country, then shouted with tiki torches, you will not replace us. The white hood came off, and the cross stopped burning, but he looked the same. Later on, I found out he was a guidance counselor, a teacher, a police officer, the president. There are not enough Antifa watchmen to get out of here. Not yet. But I saw our hands sworn in at the Capitol, adorned with Olympic gold medals, busting down bamboo ceilings, centuries-old bandao draped over the gavel, and uneven bars. My family sang Suni Lee, Hmong with an H, her story with an H, made with an H, as white media cried foul for no patriotism. Perfect 10, middle finger flips. From the Mekong to the Mississippi, redeemed SGU, descendants on the rise. Some days, I can see trails through the mist so clearly and hear echoes of my first cry. The CIA called you Lima Site 272. Hmong people called it Ban Suan, a landing strip. You are buried underwater now. Even tragic children live longer than you. So ghostly temporary, Lonely Planet and Google barely know you. They almost made me commissioner, but the fire didn't come this time. When Malcolm spoke every day, no, not that Malcolm. I listened to my daughter's wisdom. To our ancestors, she would lift up her milk. They are counting on us. They applauded Fauci for saying, yes, racial inequities exacerbated COVID-19 inequities, but remained silent when he added, but there's not much we can really do about it now. Then George called out for his mama, and I watched a Hmong man stand down and stand by. While I called on my bystander brothers and sisters, they're being shoved, stabbed, and shot by Wuhan-hating patriots. Meanwhile, Richard Spencer tweeted, cancel yourselves out. This is all part of the master plan. As he laughs, I know shared suffering creates shared liberation. My bones are crumbling. My muscles ache. I am dizzy, standing still. Wear and tear, said my doctor. Or maybe it was war and terror. The other day, my parents took me to their future graves. They chose a spot near the road to not inconvenience us. They prophesied this temporal convergence. They wanted to live. They wanted a live visitation. They were not envisioning their future, rather mine. I wasn't being studied. I was being witnessed. I was given the gift of eliminating regret. My gratitude surpassed only by my grief. Flooded with visions of inevitable mourning and profound sorrow, I grasped my daughter's hand and fused it with theirs. haunted by my living parents. I know I have failed them. I was supposed to be a bridge for serene, for unity. Consolation is not truth. If I truly were my ancestors' wildest dream, why do I share their pain? Then my grandfather caught me. It is not your pain it is not our pain that you feel. It's sacrifice and good hope. Thank you. This piece is from Vayong Moua, and I wrote this over 20 years ago. Yeah. Well, yeah. This is called the Vayong Moua. In the 16th century, in order to keep the Hmong from venturing outside Quechao, the Ming Dynasty constructed the Vayong Moua, a smaller version of the Great Wall of China that was 100 miles long, 10 feet tall, and manned by armed guards. This is an excerpt from Annie Fanaman, The Spirit Catches You and You Fall Down. Perhaps I will not destroy the Vayong Moua, but I already have plans to climb it and break off a piece to bring back to my parents. I'll say to them proudly, this is how much you were feared. A powerful emperor and dynasty created this for you and me. Not for Attila the Hun, Alexander the Great, or Genghis Khan, but for you and me. I brought this rock back to show you what you've already overcome, and that though history has not been kind to us, we have preserved against war, tragedy, and displacement. In fact, I don't really know where Quechao is exactly, but I suspect it's in southwestern China somewhere. No matter, it can't hide behind centuries of amnesia or even archaeological sensitivity. Call it vandalism or disrespect for national historical artifacts, but believe me, the Vayong Moua will be conquered. It'll be climbed, even if I have to evade guards and tourists or set out at midnight. Do I sound resentful, angry, or overzealous? On the contrary, my initial reaction upon learning about the Vayong Moua was pride. You see, I understood we had had a series of civil wars with the Hans, but I never thought we were viewed as an imperial threat. We were not little annoying ants to fend off. We commanded respect, labor, anxiety, and significant resources as a serious adversary. I'm not proud to be an enemy, but I'm proud to be taken seriously as human beings, as a cultural force. Ironically, though, we never wanted China, only our time. When I stood on the Great Wall of China as a student, I was amazed at the labor and energy invested in its construction. But what really fascinated me was the psychological law ingrained at that time. In all societies consumed with war, power, territory, I was struck with wonder and humility before such a gigantic human construct. But I felt no personal liberation. But the Vayong Moua poses itself as a personal attack on my legacy, my ancestors, and my identity. This is not an academic rhetoric or global exploration, but rather an act of defiance in the name of my people. And so with the risk of being blinded with superficial nostalgia and redemptive adventure, the climb is on. I wanted to bring the piece forward by my first cousin, Wendy Vushong, who just had a child. She's in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, and she's a wise human being. She is rich with tragedy, rich with reflection. We lost her brother a few years back to suicide. But she's telling me that she's feeling renewed and that in her child, she is carrying Adam's memory and energy forward. So I wanted to lift up a poem that she wrote that is, to me, it signifies the power of sequencing, the power of context, and the importance of completing ideas. Let me see if I can actually find it though. Yeah, okay, all right. I Am Mông by Wendy Vushong. Mông is dying. It is not true that Hmong lives on through me. Hmong people do not have a place in this world to call their own, even though my grandpa traded his life for death. My father swam across the Mekong River. My mother flew to a Thai refugee camp for a chance to live, all for a chance to have me, fleeing from bloodshed and persecution. Through all the lives lost, with survival of the fittest instilled in our nature, we changed and adapted, forming a new cultural identity. I am Hmong American, born and raised in America, given the opportunity to achieve the American dream. The Hmong history is being forgotten since it was not written down. So do not try to tell me that Hmong history lives in the Bandao by stitching our stories into our clothes. The Hmong language is being lost since only English is valuable in America. So do not try to convince me that learning the Hmong language will be beneficial and help preserve our culture. The Hmong last name clans defines who I am and determines who I can love. I often question if Hmong lives in my last name carrying my clan's honor and protection. Hmong has to be strong and courageous. To show the world that we remember our roots, I carry the weight of my ancestors' sacrifices. I am the legacy, I am the prodigy. Although I live in America, I am Hmong. So now, I'm gonna read the entire poem in reverse, line by line. I am Hmong, although I live in America. I am the prodigy, I am the legacy. I carry the weight of my ancestors' sacrifices. To show the world that we remember our roots, Hmong has to be strong and courageous. Hmong lives in my last name, carrying my clan's honor and protection. I often question it. The Hmong last name clans defines who I am and determines who I can love. Learning the Hmong culture will be beneficial and help preserve our culture. So do not try to convince me that the Hmong language is being lost, since only English is valuable in America. Hmong history lives in the Bandao by stitching our stories into our clothes. So do not try to tell me that the Hmong history is being forgotten, since it was not written down. Given the opportunity to achieve the American dream, born and raised in America, I am Hmong American. We changed and adapted, forming a new cultural identity, with survival of the fittest instilled in our nature. Through all the lives lost, fleeing from bloodshed and persecution, all for a chance to have me, for a chance to live. My mother flew to a Thai refugee camp. My father swam across the Mekong River. My grandpa traded his life for death. Even though Hmong people do not have a place in this world to call their own, Hmong lives on through me. It is not true that Hmong has died. I'm not sure how we're doing time, Bryan, but I heard you say earlier that you're only going to hear one poem from you, and I wanted to pull out a poem that Bryan wrote over 20 years ago. It's in Bamboo Mongols, and it's called the last war poem. I tell you this is the last word for this war. This little side war we were the center of. There's no justice from poetry. And any veteran can tell you that. They want their land, their lives, their lifestyle back. Grenade fishing in the aftermath of Pool Pati has lost its novelty. To the man with a bullet fragment rattling in his body, slowly tearing him apart. Right, they tell me. Right what? We lost. We were forgotten. We are ghosts. We are victims of fat tigers and foreign policy. There is no Valhalla, only memories of Spectre gunships. There is no Elysium, only pleas for asylum. This jungle is filthy. There was shit, there was blood. There were refugees who to this day cannot explain why they were the enemy. When the communists came, their sons fought, their brothers died. Their uncles, maimed, were hauled screaming into the shadows of the PDJ. Right, they tell me, so people won't forget. So someone will know. Lift their broken bodies with my words, bring them out. And say we did not die in vain. For every bullet hole, let there be a sonnet to stitch the truth back together. For every eye gone blind, let there be something to take its place, something, anything. How can you not have the words for the war of whispers? How can you not shout now that the whispering is done? And I swear each time I break this promise that the next time will be the last time, will be the last word I write about this damn war. Oh, yeah, Bryan.
All right. One more, everyone. One round of applause. Hopefully it won't be another 20 years before we get to perform together again. But if it is, then this is as fitting as we can ask for that. All right, so I'm taking a quick pause here just to let you know where we're at here. Right before we introduce our final featured speaker, Ben, then we'll also move into our open mic portion of it. We still have space to sign up on there. And I know, it's such an intimidating lineup to come up afterwards. But the whole point is to be, present this great moment of inclusion and opportunity. I think lot about years ago, the poet Leon Lee was talking to a number of us who had been gathered around him, and we kind of kidnapped him from a certain university's event, and to just have dinner with him for just a couple of minutes and just say, do you know how many people would kill to be in the position of Hmong writers right now, where every word that you write is the very first word that your community, that your culture is formed together creatively, artistically, just everything that you make is history. And I think you can kind of see that now. And I bring that up too, that as we look at the Lao journey, which is so often adjacent to that of Hmong as well, for the Lao writers, we often have this kind of culture of non-expectation then that was really challenging. Every time that we would bring up the idea of, okay, can we bring together the Lao writers, the Lao creators, or so on, got so much pushback sometimes, like, not going to name which foundation, they almost seem to write rules, which actually made it harder for us to get together, to create, to share, and to make those stories a part of the Minnesota journey. Which is really interesting because Minnesota has the third largest Lao population in the country, and that really catches a lot of people by surprise, even as Minnesota was also a state that manufactured the most number of cluster bombs that still continue to contaminate over 30% of Laos over 48 years after the ending of the war. And so, it's this mixed heritage, this mixed paradoxical relationship here for our part of the community, but we've had so many successes just the same here with all of you. And it's that complicated question of returning, then where last year was the 25th anniversary of the end of the war for Laos, and what was basically the beginning of our journey into Minnesota, as we were your friends, your neighbors, we became family with so many of you, and so on. And we had a really, really, really cool big plan to celebrate that with the Joyce Award then, which was going to have this big exhibition in St. Paul, where we were going to be able to show you poetry, oral history, stories, art, collected from all across the country in this massive 16-month effort then that took us across 23 states, all the way back to Southeast Asia itself. And I was so honored to have our next speaker here was my lead collaborator on this process, and just trying to get these stories back, to bring them into the light. And then, of course, it's like, you can only imagine our surprise when, hey guys, welcome back here in March 2020 here. And I know you're really excited to piece this all together for us and to share it with the community. But this might not be the right time for all of us to gather together in a closed space there. Are you coughing? No, I'm not coughing at all. But it's like, so Kaysone is a Lao American theater artist, and she's a playwright with a BA in theater arts from the University of Minnesota. I cannot stress how rare that is in our culture and our community nationally. All right, she's got a background as a performing artist and actor, a director, a set costume, a designer, a playwright. Everything from shadow puppetry to street theater. She just had this amazing project over at Brooklyn Park with the library this summer. I hope you all had a chance to catch that. She's performed with Pangea, Teatro del Pueblo, Green Tea Productions, and of course, so many other great projects. She was born in southern Laos in the province of Salavan. She's directed and she's devised original theater work with the youth of color as his platforms to uplift the diverse and underrepresented voices of the Twin Cities. I'm always impressed about how she really goes out of her way to bring voices that we don't think are going to be seen on the stage with our fellow Southeast Asian Americans or people of color or any of the other artists out there. She does such amazing work. That, she worked with the Moonlight Collective, then working with these artists who were Latino American, African American, and had a play called Many Rounds about the 3 different women's stories in spoken word, dance, and storytelling. And where I'm going with that is that this is, she is such a talent, and she leaves me inspired and amazed, even as sometimes we had one project where we had this really tight deadline, to get it done. And I know she hates me for being this story up there. Well, this is really important. We've got to have this whole huge work sample all pieced together. That we got these new and original poems together. Yeah, that's that doesn't sound very confident. And then, but it's, oh my God, are you still working out there right now? Yeah, it's like, well, let's meet at 1. Okay, did I say 1? Can we meet at 5? No. Did I say 5? Can we meet at 8? The finally at 8 o'clock, we get, into Caribou Coffee, and it's kind of like, this really isn't quite great process here. And it's like, yeah, all right, I admit. And so after 20, 30 years of studying poetry and everything else, I bet I was kind of like, okay, even for your half-assed effort here, it's like, these are amazing poems. Okay, fine, you're forgiven. I forgive you. And the next one, it's like we won a whole bunch of grants that made the whole process possible. Man. So anyway, that's like, let's have some big laughs here together as Kaysone comes in to share with us things that she's been working on since the pandemic here. And she's going to wow us all here, right, Kay?
Come on,
Kay. Come on, Kay. All right.
There we go. Thank you. Hi, everyone. I'm a performer, but I don't really like getting on stage. Is so weird. I just saw Julian walking by, and I was like, oh my God. When was the last time I saw you? A couple years ago or something? Sitting in an office talking about how we're gonna uplift these voices. So thanks for having me here, and Bryan for that very long-winded introduction that you're known for. I had a great project this summer working I decided 2 years ago to quit my full-time job and pursue art full-time. That was something that was a lot like, Southeast Asian communities, they're like, what are you doing again? You're unemployed. I'm like, I'm not unemployed yet. I'm actually going after that degree that I did, back then. Oh, in theater arts? What is that? It's been a long story, but it's been such a journey. I really had the heart to look at ways to uplift the voices of Southeast Asian communities, finding it really hard to see our voices, our stories, anything just about us unbiased on stage. And so I worked on a project called Sea Echoes to Rivers this summer, which involved a highly community engagement. So working with communities, telling their stories and going out there and just doing outreach and just outreaching with also artists who are out there who wanted to either learn how to tell their stories or write their stories or perform their stories. So in all 3 aspects, I engaged a community and we put up a community production this summer with the city of Brooklyn Park, who partnered with us, which has a high population of Southeast Asian communities. So really excited. So that was just this summer during the pandemic, but we made it happen. It was really successful. So hopefully next summer we'll do it again. So we'll see. Okay. So I'll just start some little trees that that I worked on, which I'm more of a theater artist, and I don't really, I guess, embrace my poetry side as much as I think Bryan is like, you are amazing. I'm like, yeah. But I do love writing poetry. I've been writing poetry since I was 7 years old. So really excited for this piece. It's called Reverb Dreams. The land wasted, our rivers emptied. No water, no fish, no super big dams. The Mekong dreaming of better days. I want to go back to that river long ago. River of memories, of gold. Flowing, moving, connecting me to untold ancestors, to magical rivers inside me. This piece is called Reflections Like Water. I was orphaned with my brother when my father died in the army. French soldiers murdered my mom in the French Indochina War. My aunt's husband was shot by accident by a family member in Vietnam. Then she left for St. Croix. My brother and I lived for months with my aunt, hid money and jewelry in my brother's mouth before crossing the river. There were people floating in the river, numb to the fish hitting my legs, for better days in a Thai refugee camp that felt like fermented fish. I'm from a province called Sullivan in southern Laos. I got a chance to go there for the first time in 2005 with my dad. That was one of the first international travel that I had privilege and honor to do, and with my father, and it was like a dream of mine. So we went. I don't know how to describe. You know, you land on the airplane. It's like that feeling, and you're like, wow. You can't even describe it. Just emotions all over. And then we went down south, which has a very special place in my heart. This piece is called Dances for Sullivan. When the mangoes ripen in the smiling sun, I'll dance my feet in Sullivan. I'll dance my feet in Sullivan, wear a white thin dress. I'll dance my feet in Sullivan. The deep forest valley will tap its toes. I'll dance my feet in Sullivan. In the moonshine sky and glass floor, I'll dance my feet in Sullivan. With children's bodies rolling waves, I'll dance my feet in Sullivan. An elephant tusk of songs, I'll dance my feet in Sullivan. Ghostly bamboo houses and whistling grass, I'll dance my feet in Sullivan. Oh Laos, oh winds of sweet white fields, I'll dance my feet in Sullivan. Oh dry tears and senseless fire, I'll dance my feet in Sullivan. Drops of sugar canes, empty hillside, gazing sunset, I'll dance my feet in Sullivan. I'll dance my feet in Sullivan. I always said I would dance my feet in Sullivan. Wearing a white thin dress, I'll dance my feet in Sullivan. Rice whiskey dripping from red painted mouth, I'll dance my feet in Sullivan. With mama's purring lips sing more love, I'll dance my feet in Sullivan. My rhythm swallow and fainting moonlight, I'll dance my feet in Sullivan. Oh bouquet of tickling laughter, I'll dance my feet in Sullivan. Oh Sullivan, oh wispy earth and silent town, I'll dance my feet in Sullivan. This one's called Minneapolis, 1990. Sun beating along the tresses of my brown skin. For $3 an hour, a girl could make a living. Eating sticky rice on the front porch, of forgotten yesterdays, daydream tomorrows. I stack another wood next to the bundles and watch my sister's handcraft. Splinter woods into smooth wounds made of tears. I leaned over, brushed her hair off her fur brows, sweating, crying. Water drips along her heated cheeks, mixing the heat of hard labor and her wind-chipped heart. The scent of her breath to transport my grandfather back to me. He sits on the edge of the makeshift, shapeshift boat, tracing his hands along the tattered edges. He waits for his boat to finish to take rides to the open market along the Mekong River. For 300 gi, a young man could dream of making a living, planting sticky rice in the rice fields of lost yesterdays, unpromised tomorrows. This one's called Intertwining. I have a lot of stories to share with you. They died along with my parents back when love and time coexisted in everlasting space. I have an internal war, navigating the struggles of disconnected memories, identities, time. I wonder what my parents wanted me to be. I graduated college with a BA, woohoo! Life was especially good after I graduated from law school. I met this older woman. Her eyes smiled, but her tongue cried. She told me of the old ways, the old country she left behind 50 years ago. Her old country misses her. Don't take for granted those things, she tells me. Her words seep deep within me. I start to decolonize my mind from all the textbook lies, took a step forward, merging all that is old to all that is new. One day, I'll bring my son back to our homeland so he can write a story about all of us. This next piece was kind of fun. In our culture, we love to dance. We dance in a circle called lambong. And growing up, some of my dad was, he was in the military and also a police officer. in Laos as well. So dating was very hard, which was non-existent. So you couldn't date, you couldn't do anything. So I wrote a poem about what it would have been like in my tape. A night to remember, a letter. Dancing lambong, I glide across the floor until our eyes meet. Can you speak in silence? Sabari, you do not know my name? Have I seen you before? No, it's not possible. I do not linger in one place. You follow me. I am gun. I ask your name, you ask mine. You take my hand and lead me outside. Ba, mokit lai. Walking hand in hand. Tell me about the stars, I say. Words explode from your mouth and I laugh at your alien language. You want to kiss me? Chai, yin, yin. I lay down a mound of crumbled rice. You do the same. You lie. Your breath rhymes together. First air seep through my clothes, only to be expelled away. You won't be long before the moon goes home. You must embrace me. Hop, hang. I take your hand, your eyes surprise. Our fingers draw endless circles on the thin air canvas. One, lie. Smiles tickle our mouths as we walk down narrow streets. Sleep will come to steal me away. You will leave me. The moon is now dreaming, so I linger to another place. Bye, Kwam Hak. You wait for me. 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 You wait for my return. This one's a short piece. It's called Bullets. Stow away my tough lies silently. Bullets, I train you, and you only. A couple more. And this one, a bit magical piece. It's called Spirit Called Home. In 3 days, I killed 3 mountains. They came firing down the valleys of Luang Prabang as I was giving blessings to my sacred ancestors. Incense in my hands, I lit the fire, wrapped them around my spear and gave it a kiss as it ascended into the sky. Dragons, I behold you. I take back our mountains and land, give it a new name, a new song, a new spirit called home. Refugee runaway. I dreamt I was a queen of freedom, hiding in the clouds. The sorceress in a foreign land chased me through the rice paddies to make me disappear with her black magic. I dreamt I was without shelter, floating in the Mississippi River, long washed away my heart without a trace. And the last piece I'll do, it's from a piece I actually wrote this summer from performances this summer with Sisyphus Brewing. The piece is called Musical Memories. It's actually a true story of one of the Lao community members from Brooklyn Park that we wrote. And so I just wanted to give an excerpt. Maybe this summer it could be a revamp. Yep, and come out and check it out. This piece is about a young woman in her 30s who came to America with her grandparents, probably, what's the same, 1990, I believe. And then her grandparents were leaving, and then she was like, she got on the roof and was like, take me with you, or I'm gonna jump off this roof. And I won't leave. And so they were like, okay. So they took her with. The thing with that is ended up leaving all her family behind, right? Like parents and sisters. And there was a bit of a conflict around family, home, and what that means when you leave your
other family behind? How do you connect with family from such a distance? It's so much more challenging now that my grandparents are gone. They were my parents here in America. All I knew were my grandparents and the elders they knew. They were my life. A lot of faces I see in my memories from childhood are elders, but I feel like even those faces are disappearing from me. My grandpa had always been the one to teach me all about the traditional things. I always go everywhere with them, to the temple, for Bakbat. There's a temple I remember going to most in southeast Minneapolis. My grandpa drew a big picture for them. One day I'll go to visit and see his work. My mom-in-law calls me every day now. It was a rough experience and mixed feelings for so many years. I couldn't see their faces, and I was happy to call my grandparents here, mom and dad, and then they tell me I have another parent back from Laos. I feel like I can never go back home because my grandparents are gone now. My grandparents were the only one who knew how to take me back home and go to where I belong. The stories my grandpa holds, it's gone to now. That's why I want to see all the elders share as much as they can with us, because we need them in order to get the true stories lined up and put them where they belong. And they need to feel that they have a purpose too in their life, whether fighting the war or raising an immigrant family. For them to see their stories are carried on. Otherwise, it's a burden for us to piece together the missing parts to share with our kids. The people in my life of all the answers are gone. That's the story that is missing that I want to know more about. But I tune into my grandparents so I can hear their songs, so I can continue singing my song. We all have music in us that flows out untold stories into the world, and we are silent, patient enough, when we hear the soft beats. So bye, la te kung khao jai, ran an jo yu, ryung kan bai, jo chuk jo su bien nai, so bye.
And this is where I can say, let's give a round of applause for Kaysone. And I thank her family and everyone who supported her along the way here in letting her, just share her incredible voice and vision with all of us in the company, and crazy loud poets all over the place here to try and make this happen. So, all right, ladies and gentlemen, this is kind of like the conclusion of our formal part of Poets and Pints. Then we'll move into open mic right afterwards. But I'm going to invite Tony up here to kind of give us the update on what's happening next season for all that. I've been your host, Bryan Thao Worra. This has been really fun. Bryan Thao Worra.
Hi kids, you having fun? Good. So as I mentioned at the top of the show, we are a nonprofit. So pass the hat sort of thing. If you can donate, we try to put together poetry programs around town. We have a number of workshops that we're working on putting out as Cracked Walnut, and all this money goes towards that as well as supporting this show. So if you want to donate, please do. If you can't, that's fine. It's a free show. It will always be a free show. Don't want you to think otherwise, but we will do the open mic as well. Well, that's happening because my timing got all messed up because these guest curated shows, they can do whatever they want. So sorry if I'm a little scattered. Anyway, so the only person I know who's signed up is Charlie. So we'll bring Charlie up first. And then I know Bill wants to go. So we're going to do Charlie and then we'll do Bill.
It's always just an absolute pleasure to be in the company of people. I thought I would do that. Tony sometimes has me bring somebody else to the party who is not here. So I thought I would bring Lee Young Lee, who Brian mentioned. This is one called The Shortcut Home. And then I have a very short piece that I did. Shortcut Home. In my sister's story, God can't find us in any of his coat pockets. Not the empty one, not in the filled. We're in none of his hands, the kind or the terrible. None of his shoes, the giant or the minute. And neither are we hiding inside the apples, neither in the perfect nor the ruin, not in the first mouthful and not in the last. In my brother's story, our death sings to us from the highest branch of the oldest tree the birds remember in the song, and we wander our Father's house in search of the origin of the hours. In my story, but I don't have a story. All I have are a few names of the flowers: morning glory, 7 o'clock, mother of wings, story carried backward up the stairs. All I have is a sown path I follow back to sleep. Painted face, clouded pine, song in a jar, burning threshold, bloody scrimmage, voice strewn on the rocks. This is a piece I did. I feel like after the evening, we need a vacation a bit. So this is called Vacation Like a Cat. Sleep, eat, play with yarn. Well, scratch that. Instead, read a little and walk a bit. Eat, sleep. Find a warm place to curl up, not in the sun. You have no melanin. Sleep, eat. Find a spot where breezes muss the hair on your head, arms, legs, the tops of your fingers. Nap. Repeat as necessary. Repeat.
Thank you, Charlie. I want to mention one more thing for Philip. So next month we're doing another guest curated show, by the way. There's a local artist named Mama Rose who put a show together. She asked me to host, so I will be a host next month, but I did not put together the show. I know that King October is going to be here, and the other two people I do not have memorized because my memory sucks. So that's happening, and then in November we're going to have a all veterans show that's being curated by Jesse Marie. So all the writers will be part of a veteran writing group, and so it's a good way to celebrate Veterans Day. So that's all that I have for announcements. And again, our next show is October 20th. And now we're going to bring up Bill.
It was a marvelous night of poetry and stuff tonight. Rather intimidating.
Yeah. Notice I didn't read anything.
Howard. I hope this isn't too far off. It's called Motive and Opportunity. The shirt on the back of the motorcyclist said, "If you can read this, the bitch fell off." And I wondered, was she your princess when she got on? Or was she truly a bitch? Maybe you did something to change her. Did she fall? Was she bounced, nudged, somehow encouraged by you to abruptly leave the bike? The bicycle built for two, occupied by only one, came toward me, and I wondered, do you have a t-shirt I can read now? I wanted to ask, did you know you were alone? Did you leave home without her, or somehow encourage her to leave the bike? I drove the way he came, Wondered if I might find a spare bitch sitting beside the road, waiting to be rescued and turned back into a princess.
Of course, I sat down and immediately remembered what else I wanted to say. So there's cards on the table, most tables. If you didn't get one, I have more. But on the back is how you can be on the show. If you are a poet or know poets, this is not a show you try out for or audition for. You sign up and I get you on at some point. We don't play gatekeeper around here. We do these guest curated shows and then I'm not in charge, but at that point, I'm doing December, I'm doing January, I know I'm doing March. So those are the shows I put together. And if you put in a survey, I try to get you on. And we like to do that. So make sure you tell your poet friends we're here. And we used to go till 10, but they don't stay open till 10 anymore. They only stay open till 9. So the last thing I will say, one, is I want to thank all the poets that are here tonight, and especially I want to thank Bryan Thao Worra. Put together a great show. And I also want to say that Sisyphus is very nice to us, so please be very nice to them. Tip them well, buy a lot of stuff, buy stuff to go, whatever you gotta do. Come often, this place is great, and they're very nice. So, again, my name was Tony Placido. I thank you so much for coming to Poets and Pints number 76. And we're gonna just keep going. See you on the 20th of October. Everybody have a wonderful night.